What's up, everyone? Welcome to podcast episode number 23. And in this one, I figured I would go over white label Google Ads management, basically what it is, how it works, and basically how it works with Surfside PPC as well. So prepared this quick little presentation of how it works with Surfside PPC. Basically, if you're interested in white label management, some of the things that you need to know. So the other thing is, if you're like, I have no clue what white label even means, this could be a potentially useful episode for you, so you understand, hey, these are the ways that I can actually grow my own agency or offer additional marketing services to my clients. So it really works best with like web design agencies, because web design agencies can build a beautiful website, and a lot of times web design agencies don't always have the capability to run ads and do the next steps after the website's being created. So a website design agency could say, we have white label Google Ads management through an agency that already knows how to do Google Ads. And instead of hiring your whole entire team yourself, you essentially say, we take a cut of the profit, you take a cut of the profit, and everybody kind of wins. So podcast episode number 23, basically the number one thing is fulfillment happens under your brand. So clients actually think you are running the ads. It doesn't always have to be that way either. I do have a couple of setups where people know that, hey, we do white label management, we contract Surfside PPC, and people are more than happy with it, because ultimately all a client's trying to do is get the best possible people doing the work for them. The thing, if you've done marketing long enough, you know that it's hard to be the person who does everything. Like, I am not an email marketing specialist and an email marketing expert like some people are, but Google Ads, I would consider myself more on that expert scope. So if somebody comes to me saying, hey, I have a client doing these 3 things that wants to expand into Google Ads, we don't currently do that. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. So it's just one of those, just trying to get the best people in the best places and not spread yourself too thin. And it also allows you to give better results to your clients ultimately, because you're focusing on other things that are going to help grow their business outside of just running ads. So client thinks you're handling the work, agency keeps the relationship and the branding. Surfside PPC, we do everything behind the scenes, or whoever is providing white label for you. So if we keep coming down here, how it works basically step by step, generally it's pretty quick process, because that's kind of the thing that, the white label agencies I'm currently working with, where I am doing white label services, essentially we have a process in place. It's like, hey, here is exactly what we need. Here's the client. Here's all the access to everything, and let's get started. So onboarding, very first thing is, do they have an account? Do we need to audit it? Do we need to start fresh? Do we need to make sure that we have conversion tracking set up? Full strategic setup, we do everything. So keyword list, campaign structure, ad copy, full management. So every single thing that is required inside of the account, we are doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then you get reporting that is going to be branded by yourself. So you'll get a report that looks like it's coming directly from you. And the client never really knows that Surfside PPC is doing everything behind the scenes. So if we keep scrolling down here, basically this is just kind of a separate, just continuation of, these are all the things that are needed when you're running ad campaigns. It's same with me. Like if I'm running Google Ads, Meta Ads, and a few different channels, there's an understanding that it's hard to do all of these channels perfectly, correctly, exactly as they need to be done. So we do all of these different processes, the A/B testing, every single thing that needs to be done. And honestly, there's times where we work with white label partners where we also do landing page testing and work on the client's websites, where usually when it gets to that, they kind of know, okay, they have a marketing company that they're working with. But ultimately, all people are looking for is, we want to make sure we have the best people doing the right things that they actually know how to do, so that when we look at results in a month or two, we know that and can feel confident that they're going to be more consistent. So pricing is probably the biggest question everybody gets. How does this actually work? For me, I always do flat rate pricing, because ultimately you're getting paid by the client. We need to figure out something where both of us, it makes sense. My flat rates are probably lower than most people think, although it really depends on the client itself. If it's a very intensive client, then yeah, it's a little bit more expensive and you should be charging your client more. Also, if it's a bigger client that's earning more money, that's, spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 or more a month, it's generally going to be more expensive to run ads at that level, because it's harder to manage that much in terms of budget and making sure it's all going to the right places, especially on a channel like Google Ads, and if you're running Meta Ads and different ad channels. So fixed monthly pricing, flat monthly rate per account. And basically for me, if you give me multiple accounts, we also talk about discounts. So you have better margin, your costs, basically just better overall results there. Next is going to be transparent branded reporting. So data you can trust, but essentially, so you can say, here's the conversions, here's cost per lead. We could do phone calls with you to make sure we're both on the same page, and just basically making sure, hey, let's let's make sure that the conversions are in where they need to be. The client's happy. This is what the client's looking for. And generally it becomes, hey, this is what the client said. What are we doing? And then we figure out a solution from there. So that's just part of the part of how that works. And in any type of white label, really you need to understand what the results are. Usually both parties have access to the Google Ads account. So you have access to the reporting as well within the Google Ads account. So usually I try to figure out a way to say, hey, here's a report you can access at any time, a dashboard, and you can see these results so that if your client asks a question, you can quickly go and see it. And sometimes that makes that a lot quicker than, hey, let me ask my PPC manager, and PPC manager, when they get back to me, then I'll tell my client. So it's really having that in front of you is much easier, and then being able to build reports when they're needed. So next is going to be, you can focus on scaling your agency. So strategy and client relationships, winning new clients, adding new services. It's like, same thing with me. I know if I'm doing a little bit too much in terms of trying to do everything, it does get a lot more difficult because there's a lot of different systems and there's a lot of different things that you need to learn when you're working with a variety of different clients. So to me, the focus on scaling your agency, that's really number one. It's making sure that your client relationships stay really strong, and so that you can provide 2, 3, 4, or 5 different services for them at the same time, charge them one flat rate fee, and then you have a white label agency that gets a small portion of that because they're helping you manage the Google Ads. But ultimately, if you sell Google Ads management for $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, then you can hire a white label agency behind the scenes that you pay half of that. And you basically say, hey, we want you to manage everything. We're going to split it 50-50. We'll deal with the client. You deal with the ads. And truthfully, for me, it's kind of the ideal scenario because I prefer to be in the ad account, working on the ads and making sure that works. And ultimately, to finish off this video, if somebody's typing an optometrist near me and I see CarolinaEyeCare.com, nobody really knows who is actually managing this advertisement. So it's one of those where you don't always know, hey, this is the company of record that's managing this. It could be Carolina Eye Care themselves. So this is one of those things where just understanding that somebody needs to run the ads and you need somebody who's very good at it. And it's the same thing with white label SEO services, white label meta ad services. It's really just a matter of, can we get the right people in place to actually do the work that we need to get done so that we can scale and grow our own operation? So if you have any questions about any of this, please leave them in the comment section. Please send me an email. But this will be Surfside PPC Podcast episode 23. A little bit different. I want to do something that was a little more, here's what Surfside PPC actually does. So just kind of understanding our white label services. This is something that I prefer to do, truthfully, compared to, onboarding new clients. And sometimes for me with Surfside PPC, I have clients that want 4 or 5 different things. And sometimes I'm better off just saying, let me just manage the Google Ads. Let me manage what I'm very good at, instead of saying, let me try to do Google and SEO and meta and landing pages and email marketing and all these different things. So it's one of those where we can all work well together by having a creative agency, a design agency, a marketing agency, and the Google Ads agency, kind of all working hand in hand and charging the client, and everybody's getting paid something from this client and everybody's kind of putting their heads together. So that is how white label works with Surfside PPC. If you have any questions, again, please leave them in the comments. And thank you for watching and listening to my podcast. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review. It would be helpful. I don't think I have any reviews anywhere, but yeah, I'll see you on episode number 24.